LP9.
Hello, people of Earth and beyond. You've signed on for another edition of King's Castle. I'm King James. I'll be your host for the next hour of entertainment news and whatever you want to know. And here to help me break it all down is my colleague, the always reliable and rarely shy Blair Chopin. Blair, good evening.
Good evening.
And we've got to talk about what has been a very exciting week for the wrestling industry, because this past Sunday we saw the Payback pay-per-view. And we got some big storylines to talk about, but I think we should really start from top to bottom. So we saw Baron Corbin suffer his first loss since coming to the main roster when he was pinned by Dolph Ziggler. We saw Kalisto successfully defend the United States Championship against Ryback. But as far as the main pay-per-view is concerned, we saw Enzo and Cass take on the Vaudevillains in the finals of the tag team tournament. And unfortunately, Enzo suffered a serious concussion when he slipped under the bottom rope and hit his head on the apron.
Oof.
So he's out for an unknown amount of time. But I think one of the biggest storylines coming out of Payback was that all-important decision by Mr. McMahon about who was going to run Monday Night Raw. Was it going to be Shane or Stephanie? Now, in an unprecedented move, if you didn't see it, spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
But in an unprecedented move, he decided that both Shane and Stephanie have equal say, so therefore they should both run Monday Night Raw. Now, my question, Blair, is this.
Yes, sir.
We've documented in the past the dichotomy on screen with the McMahon family and the fact that they seem to love to hate each other.
They do.
As far as their characters. So I don't really see this coexisting for very long, although they have proven that they can work together.
They have.
In the past week. So that being said, do you think they can coexist?
Yes, I think they will eventually face each other. They'll face off with each other. Eventually conflict will come. And they will face each other in the first ever electric chair match. Well, the loser is sent to the electric chair.
Well,
I'm just kidding. But, yeah, I think they'll eventually have some tension between them. And I think they'll do something where they break the wrestlers up into Team Stephanie versus Team Shane. And they'll have a tournament out of it and everything. And everyone will be happy.
And just for you wrestling historians out there, and maybe for you too, Blair, they've actually already done something similar to what you just mentioned, because
you know what they could do? They could have the fans vote on who they want to take control of the company.
We'll see.
On election day. That is a hell of a plan.
Well, yeah, except there's not much action involved. But anyway, for you wrestling historians,
great idea.
They actually did something similar.
Just blown off, but it was a brilliant idea. Let that sit with the fans.
They actually did something similar in 1991 during the days of WCW. At Halloween Havoc that year, they did something called the Chamber of Horrors match, which didn't end until one member of the opposing team got electrocuted. And if you want to know what I'm talking about, you can see it on the WWE Network for only $9.99.
Or YouTube it.
Right. But
don't spend $10 if you don't have to, people. For $1 billion.
Come on, Blair. Let's be fair. We're fans, so we gotta plug them.
No, we don't.
Okay. But anyway,
until they sponsor us, until WWE sponsors us, I'm gonna say, steal all of their content until they sponsor us.
You're gonna get us in trouble. Anyway,
Hashtag steal from.
Anyway, we saw Cesaro lose to The Miz. Miz is still Intercontinental Champion. We saw Kevin Owens defeat Sami Zayn in a huge match. But in another shocking storyline, we saw Natalya face Charlotte for the Women's Championship. Ric Flair was in Charlotte's corner. Bret Hart was in Natalya's corner. And the referee was Charles Robinson. And I bring that up for a very important reason. Charles Robinson, according to wrestling history, is a Flair family friend.
He's also the subject of the Simon and Garfunkel song, Here's to You, Mr. Robinson.
And most of you who watched WCW back in the day would know he used to wrestle as Little Nate. But that's a whole other story. But anyway, he was the referee during this match. And I gotta say, the match was pretty fair, even between the two, until Charlotte locked on the sharpshooter, which is Natalya's finishing maneuver. And, or can you say old school?
Old school.
Now I
Starring
say
Will Ferrell.
that because in an exact rerun of the Montreal Screwjob, Charles Robinson rings the bell and awards the title to Charlotte before she even tapped. So, if you ask me, Flair took advantage of a friend, and as a result of that, Charles Robinson or someone needs to be not just banned, but fired.
Whoa!
I think Charles Robinson should be fired.
Whoa!
Because he's been in the center of controversy in his career,
Hold on.
and he can't be.
Yep, you're warm. That's a hot take.
And he can't be trusted.
You are burning up.
Blair,
Your take is on fire.
I gotta ask you this question: would you trust Charles Robinson after something like that?
I would not trust Charles Robinson to head the United States of America. No.
We're not talking about as president. We're talking about as a wrestling official.
Who, as a wrestling official? I don't know. He always seems to get involved in controversy, you know?
Yeah,
I remember his WCW days.
yeah. I mentioned he's been in the eye of controversy in his career before.
I don't know if I trust him.
I wouldn't either. And thankfully, Stephanie McMahon has already.
I've got it on good authority from someone who used to play poker with Charles Robinson. He looks at other people's cards. I'm not going to disclose my source on that, but I'm well connected with Charles Robinson's poker friends.
Well,
You can't trust him. You just can't.
thankfully, Stephanie McMahon.
He's a slime ball. Off with his head.
Where? Stop. Anyway, thankfully, Stephanie McMahon has already granted Natalya her rematch for Extreme Rules on May 22nd, and thankfully, this time, Mr. Flair will not be at ringside to help his daughter fight over Stephanie. So we'll see how that plays out.
Would you want your daughter to be a wrestler?
Well, it depends. If she had as much passion for it as I do, yes. But if not, I'd support her in anything she wanted to do. But that's a whole other story. This is not about us getting personal, sir. Anyway, we're going to take a little time out here to get set for our next segment. And
Hashtag ban Charles Robinson.
and so that we can reiterate here. But when we come back, we're going to have more about Payback, plus some follow-up about last week's show and the NFL Draft. So stay tuned.
LP9.